Hello, I want to welcome you all to today's Smile Therapy section. We are going to be observing 15 minutes Smile Therapy, and I'm going to be reading out jokes to you. So if you hear anyone that cracks you up, please feel free to laugh out loud. Good. So the first joke here is titled "Coward Soldiers Who Were Scared of Peacekeeping Mission in Iraq." I repeat, two coward soldiers who were scared of peacekeeping mission in Iraq. I read, in a certain country where in a certain country there were two coward soldiers in the barrack who were scared of peacekeeping mission in Iraq. So one day, while in the barrack, they had information that their superior were about sending a battalion of soldiers immediately on peacekeeping mission to Iraq to reduce the high rate of deadly violence, killing, and suicide bombing that have taken the order of the day. So, before the announcement could be made, one of the two coward soldiers sneaked out of the barrack earlier and hid in the nearby military hospital at a noon. So, a few minutes later, as the other coward soldier was sneaking out of the barrack too, one of their superiors spotted him and came after him. So the second coward soldier then ran up to the same nearby military hospital and met a nun, who happens to be the first coward soldier. Out of breath, he asked the nun, "Please, may I hide under your skirt? I will explain later." And the soldier nun agreed. So after a few seconds, their superior came up to the nun and asked, "Sister, did you see any soldier just now?" "He went that way," replied the soldier nun. So after their superior followed the way, he was told and ran off the hiding soldier. Then crawled out of the skirt of the soldier nun and said, "I can't thank you enough, sister. You see, I don't want to go to the Iraq." "I understand very well," answered the soldier nun. Continued the second soldier that just crawled out. "I don't mean to be rude or naughty, but you seem to have a great pair of legs." And the soldier nun replied, "Oh yeah, but if you had looked a little higher, you would have seen a traffic margin stick with a great pair of balls too. I don't want to go to Iraq too either." This is quite very hilarious, you know. Oh, so the next joke here is titled "The Funny Drunk Who Felt Sick." In a certain town, there was this drunk who fell sick and decided to go to see the doctor. So while he was with the doctor examined him and said, "I don't want to find the problem, but I think it has something to do with alcohol." "Well," replied the drunk, "guess what he said?" He said, "Since you are not sure, then I will come back when you are sober, not drunk." That was hilarious. So the next joke here is titled "The Naughty Vegetarian Who Wishes He is a Doctor." I read, in a certain town, there was this vegetarian who came home from work feeling bad about the day's activities. He lay down on the couch and pondered in action and was having two voices in his head, that of good moral side and that of bad side. While he stared at the ceiling, a voice in his head said, "Don't worry about it. A lot of doctors sleep with their patients." The vegetarian chose that is moved restlessly on from side to side and turned in reflection of his action. Same voice said again, "Don't worry about it. A lot of doctors sleep with their patients." Feeling somehow relieved, the man began to relax and felt better about himself. And at the same time, another voice in his head said, "But you are a vegetarian. You are not a normal, like you're not the regular doctor that treats human being. What you treat is animal. So you can't sleep with an animal. Or do you want to sleep with an animal?" So that was actually hilarious. So the next joke here is titled "A Funny Encounter Between a Drunk Biker and an American Indian Chief." I read, in a certain town, there was this biker wearing a helmet with bull horns on it, who just walked into a bar and ordered a drink for himself. And there was this American Indian chief with feathers on his head, sitting in a dark corner and staring at the biker, who horns on his head, with horns on his head. So the biker later noticed this staring from the American media chief and walked over to the chief and asked, "What are you looking at?" And the chief, looking intensely and pointing at the biker's helmet with horns, replied, "No, I'm just looking." So the biker went back to the table and took another drink. So after a couple of drinks, the biker looked and spotted the chief still staring at him again. And as usual, he staggered over again and asked a little louder, "What are you looking at?" And the chief, still looking intensely and pointing at the biker's helmet with horns, replied again, "No, I'm just looking." Then the biker went back to the table again and had lots more drinks. So finally, when he eventually looked around again, he saw the chief still staring at him again, drunk and furious. He stormed up at the chief and screamed at him, "What are you looking at?" And this time, the chief, still looking intensely and pointing at the biker's helmet with horn, finally replied. He said, "Many, many moons ago, me sleeping with a buffalo. Oh, you might be my son." That was quite hilarious. So let's move on to the next joke here. The next joke here is titled "A Strange Man Who Makes a Bar Owner's Horse to Laugh and Cry." A strange man who makes a bar owner's horse to laugh and cry. In a certain town, there was this strange man who walked into a bar to enjoy himself with some drinks. But unfortunately for him, the bar owner was looking for anyone who can make his miserable horse to laugh, and the reward was that anybody that succeed will have free drinks the whole of the night. So the strange man sat and watched different men trying their best, but to no avail. With courage, he approached the bar owner and asked him to allow him to try. And of course, the bar owner gave him the go ahead. So he walked over to the horse and whispered something in his ear. And amazingly, the horse started laughing, surprised and impressed. The bar owner happily gave him free drinks the whole of that night, as he had promised. So the next night, the same guy came back to the same bar again, and the barman said to him, If you can make my happy horse over there to cry, I will give you another free drink for the rest of the night." So the strange man walked over again and does something, and amazingly again the horse started crying, and the bar owner was surprised again and pondered this time, but gave him free drinks again the whole of the night as he had promised. So after few minutes of pondering and staring at the strange man, the bar owner gently approached the strange man and said, "Man, I can't believe this. Please tell me what you actually did to make my miserable horse laugh and cry." And the strange man answered to them, "Your horse laugh. I told him I have a bigger magic stick than this. And to make him cry, I proved it by showing him the size." Ah, all right. That's that. So let's move on. The next joke here is titled "A Boy Who Relieves Himself of Real Bad Gas in a Bus, Camouflaging with His iPod." I repeat, a boy who relieves himself of real bad gas in a bus, camouflaging with his iPod. Okay. In a certain town, there was this boy traveling in a bus and listening to the music from his iPod. So after few hours in the bus and getting close to his destination, he suddenly realized he needs to relieve himself of a real bad gas. So while the music from his iPod was loud, he then pondered to match the beat with the sound of the gas he's relieving, so that other passengers will not know what's going on. So after listening to some few songs from his iPod and relieving himself of his terrible long bad gas, he started feeling better, and he said almost reached his destination. But he never knew the other passengers were staring real bad at him, and he kept releasing his terrible long bad gas. So when the bus driver stopped him at his destination, as he was leaving the bus, he noticed the passengers really staring him down with hisses, and that's when he realized he had been listening to his iPod. Ah, Whew. The next joke here is titled "A Normal Man Who Has Considered a Lunatic After Falling Is." Oh, let me check. Now the next joke here is titled "A Drunk Who Thought Thieves had broken into his brand new car." I read, in a certain town, there was this drunk who called his friend to come and celebrate his brand new car with him in a bar. In this manner, he bought enough drinks for both himself and his friend, and they started drinking and celebrating his brand new car. So these friends drank enough and told him they are okay and that they will be going home. So before the night came, virtually all his friends had gone home, leaving him in the bar still drinking. Eventually, when he had exhausted himself with enough alcohol, he then decided to go home. So when he managed and staggered out of the bar, he staggeringly went into his car through the back door and could not find his steering and dashboard. Immediately, he reached out for his cell phone and phoned the police to report that thieves had broken into his brand new car. Guess what they said? They said, "Hello, hello, is that the DPO or inspector? Thieves had stolen my car steering, the dashboard, the two panels, both brakes and accelerator panels, and even the radio CD player," crying. He continued, "Please catch them quickly for me. I haven't enjoyed that car at all." However, before the police investigation could commence, the drunk phoned the police again. Guess what he said again? He said, never mind. With a drunken voice, I got into the back seat by mistake. Thank you so much for listening to my jokes, and I hope I made you laugh. To meet again in the next session. Thank you and bye bye.